Hello, everybody. It's that time again. This is Out of the Box Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Andre, and I'm here with my co host, Bradley Powers. And we have a special guest with us here tonight, Michael Tuttle, who is a conduit and an automatic writer. How's everybody doing tonight?
Awesome, Jim. How are you?
Thank you.
Doing good. Thanks for coming on the show, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
So if you want
So,
to...
Michael is a automatic writer, which means that ghosts can actually write using Michael's hands, and he's also a conduit. So, Michael, would you like to tell us when did it all begin for you?
Yeah, sure. So it all basically started when I'll talk about basically when I first awakened first. I awakened in July 2021, and for me, it was the lockdowns that happened, I think, was my foot in the door. I think that's for a lot of people. And I think what really sparked the awakening was the suffering I was enduring from my PTSD, from the trauma that I endured. And that kind of forced me awake. And just recently, about 3 years into my awakening, I started noticing about 2 months ago that I have this ability to automatic write, where I get these thoughts, kind of downloads, I would say, into my head, and I kind of just copy and paste and write it down. And what I've noticed is the thing that sparks it is helping other people with their darkness, trying to be a beacon of light for them to walk into the light for them. And then that's when I start getting downloads in order to help those people. So I started noticing about.
Yeah, sorry.
So how did you first discover that you had the ability?
Just from helping other people out and kind of taking off my mask and being more my authentic self, kind of peeling back the layers of the onion, kind of, so to speak.
Right.
And by doing so and putting that out there onto my Facebook profile, it's brought a lot of people into my private messages asking for advice on various topics.
So how do you work that? Do you actually do sessions with them? I mean, are they present while you're receiving these messages, or?
Yeah, it's like live while I'm chatting with them by way of text. It's kind of, that's when I get the downloads, and I just kind of copy and paste from my mind to the phone. And a lot of people like to use a pen and paper to automatic write, I see. But for me, I'm a pretty quick texter, so I'm able to just do it, you know.
So it's all telepathic.
Yeah, I was talking to Bradley about it, and he's saying that there's a new term that I heard is telethoughts, because I don't hear a voice. It's more just
it's like telepathy.
Yeah, I guess so, in a way, right? Like from source or from some type of something out there. But it feels like it's not my thoughts as much. Some of them are my thoughts, but it's also something else coming into my head. So
Okay, we got David Nash. Hi, David. Vic is in the house.
Yeah,
Hello, Tim.
Michael uses a term called telethought, which is similar to telepathy, only Michael gets thoughts that are not his own, and he recognises that, called telethought, which is a form of quantum physics.
So do you ever get any transmissions or downloads like out of the blue if you're not really communicating with somebody else?
Yeah, I think some things spark it. I think music sparks it sometimes when I'm thinking deeper into the lyrics, and it'll send me down little rabbit holes, and it'll in my mind, and then it comes out, and then I don't know, like reading different things, and then it'll spark my intuition, and I'll follow the intuitive leads, and it kind of brings me to a spot where I'm just in a flow state, and I just start writing it.
So I'm sure, in your position now, going down the path you're going, that you're being able to understand it more and more, and probably have a different outlook on on life, nature, and the big picture itself.
Definitely, right? So like I'm kind of exploring myself with it. It's almost like sometimes when I'm talking to someone, I'm almost learning from my own writing as I'm trying to give them advice. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's very odd, but yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why we got to be open-minded, to gain more knowledge.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of like the saying goes how the teacher, you learn from the student and the student learns from the teacher.
Lisa's here. Hi, Lisa. Amon McCormick says, hey, Tuttle, you're awesome, bro.
Eamon, what's up, buddy? That's my coworker.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend. Yeah. But yeah, like what I was actually like, just a little bit of a backstory. I was in the army before for 9.5 years, and I was fast asleep during that time, and I was kind of just going with the indoctrination, going with the conditioning, and that's what my life was, and that's how I thought life was. I didn't think there was any more to it. And like I said, I was an atheist until I was 30 years old. I'm 33 now, and but yeah, I was in the army. I got out. I had a wife at the time, and unfortunately, she ended up committing suicide. So that was the traumatic event. A lot of people have multiple traumatic events, but I had kind of one big acute traumatic event that.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Yes, I ended up finding her even, so it made it that much worse. But that put me into my own self-induced mental health, if you will, and like really made me have to transcend my own hell. I got into drinking and drugs, just being risky behavior, all that kind of stuff, and then
Yeah, I'm sure that sent you down a path where you had to really find your inner self.
absolutely, yeah. So I ended up being kind of like that, doing drugs and all that kind of stuff for like 5 years, and I ended up meeting my girlfriend Kyla soon after the event happened, and she helped me a lot. I even tell her she saved my life because she helped me so much with my mental state and everything. Even though I was still doing drugs and drinking and everything, she helped me a lot. And then I ended up being able to transcend all that stuff, and it got to a point where I was actually suicidal myself. And once I actually kind of made the decision I'm going to do it, and then something happened. It's like a light switch went off in my brain, and it's almost like it was telling me that the ego was trying to kill me. And I was atheist at this point, so I didn't even believe in God or anything. And it was just like boom, it's just like a light switch went off, and I had this massive Kundalini awakening, and it's a very surreal feeling. It's almost like if I was to explain it, it'd be like taking a picture with a flip phone of the full moon and sending it to someone and trying to tell them to see what I saw,
Jessica Pascal is asking, what do you believe in now? No longer an atheist.
So now I've morphed into this belief of source or God or whatever you want to label it. I don't have really a label. You could call me agnostic, I guess. I don't have really a label for what I am. But I bypassed religion, organized religion, and all that kind of stuff, and I went straight to like esoteric knowledge and Eastern spirituality type stuff. And I've come to realize for myself, for my reality, is that the source is an objective source that encompasses is the awareness that encompasses all creation, and that objective source has fractalized into almost a virtually infinite amount of subjective experiences that it omnipotently actually experiences, from the atoms to quarks to everything. I think everything's alive.
David Nash says, Michael, David Nash. Go on.
David Nash says inspired writing has developed many famous authors. Much of the Bible, the lady who wrote the Henry Potter books, Stephen King.
That's an interesting fact, yeah.
That's a fair comment. The Bible was written using automatic writing.
Johnny Roton says, my brother did it. Long gun to the heart.
Sorry to hear that, Johnny.
Same here. Says he was a fighter jet pilot in the American Air Force.
Respect to your brother, Johnny, for his service.
Joe Papizzo says, looking good, Mike.
What's up, Joe? Another coworker of mine and a good friend.
Morgan Roundtree is in the house. Hello, Morgan.
Yeah, I think that I've came to this realization as well that the universe is devoid of meaning unless it has conscious observers. And it is by the act of conscious observation that we give it subjective meaning. And it's up to each and every individual to have their own subjective meaning and their own perspective of reality. So
Yeah. Cody Greer says, where were you stationed at in the Guards?
when I was in the Army,
Yeah.
I was in Gagetown, New Brunswick in Canada. I'm Canadian. So I was
Okay.
stationed in Gagetown, New Brunswick, and then I was posted to Edmonton, Alberta.
Fergie Ferrelli says, that was amazing. It was given as a gift. My awakening has had to be hard, one, but it was given in a way I could understand it.
It's great.
So you were in the service for what, 9 years, you said?
Yes. 9.5 years. Yeah.
That's quite a while.
Yeah, it's definitely had a lot of benefits. I had to unlearn a lot of things, but I also kept I cherry picked a lot of things that I wanted to keep from it that were really beneficial for me. Like one major thing that helped me from the Army was the ability to adapt and overcome hard situations. So that could have saved my life during this traumatic event that happened to me, to be able to adapt and overcome it, right?
Jessica Pascal says, I resonate a lot with how you view things. It makes my perspective easier and harder, if that makes sense. Sometimes I think to myself, I wish I didn't know what I know now.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, Jessica, to me, because you think so in depth that you're an overthinker like me, right? So you might just like the fact that you can think on a deep level like that, you probably think deep or maybe even too deep about other things in life that maybe you don't have to think so deep about. And I think you could I think it's a very like specific things that you can think deeply on that matter to think deeply on, and then there's other things that you need to just accept it for what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Some things that you can't change, and if they're negative things, is there really any point into thinking deep about it? Or if you think about things that don't matter in the grand scheme of things, like if you're overthinking, oh, is there dark matter? Is there not dark matter? What happened to the Big Bang? Is that going to help the current events in the world right now to change everything for the better, kind of thing, you know? Try to live in the now.
Laurel Demille says, finally got a tag that you were on. First time in a long time. Toronto here. Hi, you brainiacs. Hope you're all well. Yes, we are. Thank you, Laurel. Thank you for asking, Laurel.
Did she say Toronto?
Laurel DeMille, that is.
I'm just 45 minutes away from Toronto, actually. So
Yeah, Toronto, yeah. Morgan Roundtree says, even though Edgar Cayce didn't actually do the penmanship, he kind of did automatic writing and channeling. Johnny Rotten says, once we are awake, we cannot go back to sleep. Agreed. What has been seen cannot be unseen.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a curse and a blessing, right?
Johnny Rotten says, Michael strikes me as a clairvoyant healer.
I appreciate that, Johnny. That's pretty big title.
Vic Makarov is asking Vic Makarov is asking, are personal awakenings given or achieved?
I think that it's both, to be honest, because for me, it was given. Because I was still dabbling in drugs and stuff at the time of my awakening. And I wasn't doing the work on myself. I was just drinking and doing drugs, and I was suicidal pretty much, probably from my own drug-induced psychosis from it, So it's almost like it chose me to. It's like something new that I was making the decision to end it, and it saved my life. So I'd say it's both, because some people that work on themselves, they earn it, and then there's people that get chosen, I guess, to be saved.
Kyla Lee Curry says, Michael went from thinking I was silly for believing in God, supporting me completely and helping me to break free from the indoctrination that faced my whole life from upbringing. It's been so helpful having Michael find himself and becoming into himself more and more every day. Thank you for sharing that, Kyla.
That's Kyla. That's my girlfriend, actually. So, yeah. Thanks, Kyla. I love you.
Okay. David Nash says, ignorance is bliss sometimes. I agree with that. Do you remember when you didn't know? Wasn't you happier?
Yeah. I think ignorance is bliss, just like he said, sometimes, right? Some things is great to know, even though it may be a negative thing, because you need to know, for instance, like Kyla, my girlfriend's introduced me a lot to natural living and eating like organically, and so like to know some of the negative aspects of what you're being fed from society and authority figures and all that kind of stuff may be negative, but if you can know it and come up with a solution to it, then you don't have to worry about that thing.
Johnny Rotten says, I was just going to say, living there now, it's magic when we have problems.
Definitely agree.
Jessica, sorry.
Go ahead. I got to keep my end quiet because the dog keeps barking. Go ahead.
All right, okay. Okay, Jim. Jessica Pascal says, I have learned sometimes just asking yourself those questions is all you need to do to be aware. Doesn't necessarily always need an answer.
Definitely makes sense to me.
Morgan Roundtree says, yes, live in the now, but our ascension is the big boom we're waiting for, in my opinion. Yeah, our ascension, that's right. The purpose of life is to seek ascension. You can seek ascension by helping others without expecting a reward. That's one way to seek ascension.
Absolutely, yeah, because I think that by helping someone, by having your unconditional love for yourself, it reverberates out to having unconditional love for others, right? So it comes to cause and effect, the universal law of cause and effect and karma. And I believe that everyone is one, right? In the objective and from an objective point of view, that everyone is one. So if you're helping someone else, you're helping yourself at the same time.
Laurel DeMille says, I've been awake since 1963. Wow, that's a long time. Thank you, Laurel.
Wow.
Nikki Ria says, it has helped me to go very general in my mind, spirit and body to break through to the other side of that. Wishing I didn't know what I know, sometimes lonely feeling. So it goes away quickly when the blessing is the main focus and more gets revealed all the time. Thank you for that, Nikki.
Awesome.
Laurel DeMille says, I'm actually in Pickering right now beside the nuclear power plant. Howdy, neighbour. I'm a psychic healer as well.
Wow, Laurel,
Thank you for sharing that, Laurel.
Laurel, you
Yeah,
should,
Jim's a
or you should
quantum
message,
healer. Jim Monroy.
Laurel, you should message me after because I'm actually just I'm by the Darlington nuclear power plant, and that's where I work. I'm a Boilermaker now, so I'm not actually active duty anymore. I'm a Boilermaker, and I live close by to the Darlington. So if you want to message me after, we can chat.
Laurel DeMille is asking who our guest speaker is tonight. Michael Tuttle, automatic writer and conduit. Okay, Laurel. Eamon McCormick says automatic writing can feel very much like meditating. Is there anything you do get into that free flow state zone?
That's what I'm trying to really hone in on.
Do you feel it's like meditating?
I'm trying to hone in on that, on how to on command do it. The most reliable source for me to automatic write is helping other people. And when I help other people with unsolicited advice, when they come to me and they ask for it, it just comes to me. It's just I get download after download, and I think music also triggers it, but it's mostly helping other people so far. I'd like to learn how to maybe meditate and get into more of a flow state and come up and be able to do it on command. So that's my next kind of step.
Sarah Williams says, hi guys, I'm glad to join you all this evening. I'm definitely looking forward to the show. Welcome, Michael. I'm so glad you are on the show and everyone is having the opportunity to meet you. Thank you for that, Sarah Williams.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that.
Cody Greer says, what I've learned is not to dive. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Cody Greer says, what I've learned is not to dive too deep into something that's not quite understandable. It will come to you in time. That's right. I don't think you choose the gift. The gift chooses you. Vic Makarov.
Yeah. And on that note about going too deep into something that's not knowable, I think there's like two sides to that coin because, like, you know, a lot of things in life, like it's an infinite rabbit hole of learning and experience, right? So I almost view it like you have this lifetime. I think you have multiple lifetimes to do this, but each lifetime you have this infinite rabbit hole to go down. And I think of it as if you can go as far as you can go down that rabbit hole, as long as it's not hurting anyone else or yourself. I'd say do it. Get as far down that rabbit hole as you can before this vessel dies and pass over to the next life, you know?
Laurel DeMille says, we are all a little piece of God. 1963, November the 23rd, today the Secret Service agent in the front seat shot John Kennedy. Yeah, it was the geezer in the front seat shot John Kennedy. And they removed that from the clip. Yeah, I believe that's a true story. It wasn't a hitman. It was a hitman, but in the car he was shot. I believe that.
Wow.
Johnny Rotten says he's a clairvoyant healer. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Hi there, Rich German. Fergie Ferrelli says, right, Michael, spirit comes through strongest at the most critical moments in life when life and death is on the line.
Absolutely, I believe that 100%. I don't even believe that. I know that from my own experience.
Cody Greer says, I used to live near the Oak Ridge nuclear power plant in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Nice.
Becky Fanning says, is it possible that before incarnation, the soul chooses this and that the others are lessons, etc.? When we are faced with the situation of checking out, etc., we have a choice to leave our mission before completion, but the price is having to return to finish learning and evolving from that situation. Sometimes I feel the free will we have here is a curse and not a blessing. Thank you for that, Becky.
I actually, they're on the same page with me on that. I think that I don't think that you necessarily sign up for exactly the path that you're going to go on. But I think that there's some type of agreement that you want certain upgrades, if you will, in life in this lifetime for your soul, and the path is that one's up to God or the source or whatever label you want to call it. I think that path is given to you, that divine path. And sometimes in things in life, when things don't go the way you want or the way you think you need, that's probably source or the divine energy that's guiding you away from it. Even though you feel like you want or need it, it's trying to guide you towards what you came here to do, you know? That's my opinion on it anyway.
Nikki Ria says, meditation is the easiest way for me to tune to automatic writing and shutting down all outside interference for short periods of time. I suppose it works differently for each individual. Yes, it does, Nikki. Different for everybody.
Absolutely. That's my next step, is to, like, I have been meditating, but I want to incorporate the automatic writing, maybe ask for help with automatic writing or ask for subject matter to write about during meditation, and maybe it'll up my on command automatic writing.
Kylo Leah Curry, is that?
We lost Bradley. So I can take this. It says, funny you say this. Kyla says, funny you say this, Johnny. Michael has a great analogy relating to the ocean. I hope he says this analogy. Okay, yes, I can say that. So I have this I say I have an analogy for my monkey brain to understand what consciousness is. My analogy is it goes like this. It's if you think of the objective consciousness, the objective awareness as an ocean, and individual souls are droplets from that ocean that evaporate from that ocean, and they come up and they rise and they rise, and they're individuals. They see themselves as individuals as they rise, and then they become clouds. And that's the collective consciousness realizing itself as all one. And then once that collective consciousness notices they're all one as a subjective consciousness into an objective awareness, they realize that the ocean that they came from is them. And once those droplets turn into rain and they come back down and they merge back with the ocean, with that objective awareness, and realize, whoa, I am the ocean, you know? That's the analogy I came up with anyway.
Yeah, there's different ways to meditate. Washing the car can be a form of meditation. If you're enjoying the process, that is meditation.
Yeah, like my girlfriend, her form of meditation and getting into a flow state is to clean, which is lucky for me. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. I got grandkids here. The dogs keep barking. I got to keep my end quiet when I go to. So
no problem.
Yeah, my devices are overheating.
Mike, did you already address that when we get up? Yeah, you're all set.
I addressed that. Yeah.
All right.
Is it a calling? Yes or no? Yes, it is a calling. It's a calling to be heard and recognised and activate and motivate with reason. It's a calling by a higher consciousness.
I think it's a calling, and it's also individuals' own actions in order to have that calling heard. Because if I was to keep my masks on and be scared of what people think, or to not be my authentic self, then I wouldn't even have this opportunity to be talking to you guys today. So
Yeah, it's my calling. It's what awoken me from my slumber. Same for Jim, I believe. Calling.
yeah,
If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. That's how I look at it.
it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I think you just need to step into that calling if you feel the intuition, because I believe that your intuition, like to trust your intuition, and to trust that intuition with love and confidence, is to trust with love and confidence in the universe, or in God, or the source, or whatever you want to call it. Because I think your intuition is really not your own thinking. Is your intuition is listening.
Nikki Reyes says free will is the ultimate example of unconditional love. We are loved so completely when we can choose what we believe about everything.
Yeah, because free will gives you the opportunity to be violent and be a terrible person if you really want. But if you choose love, if you choose unconditional love, if you choose to care for other people and love yourself and love others, that shows that you've used your free will in a selfless way.
Becky Fanning says, is it possible that before incarnation the soul chooses this and that the others are lessons, etc.? When we are faced with a situation of checking out, we have a choice to leave. I've read that one, haven't I? Sorry. I'm
All good.
multitasking there. Fergie Ferretti says, Michael, you are a very enlightened and wise individual. Thank you for that,
very much.
Fergie. And don't forget, you can compliment me and Jim as well if you want.
That's humbling to hear compliments like that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we've got a kind audience, as always. We don't get trolled.
Nice. Yeah.
Rich German says the entire universe is made for this exact moment. Every moment you experience necessitated an entire new universe as an whole fades away. The simulation is endless.
Absolutely.
Yes, Johnny Rotten says we all have gifts that are unique to ourselves. When we find them, we find our way. It's a connection to the soul. I believe we are all born psychic. Only not everyone recognises that. You know, recognise is a word of power. Recognise is a word from the occult. You need to recognise yourself, recognise who you are, recognise your gifts and your attributes, and tune into them. That's what you need to recognise.
Yeah, that makes sense, because it's like your natural. We have so many layers to us, right? And these layers have been put on us by other people, and these thoughts and these beliefs have been put on us by other people. And from birth, it's like our thoughts and beliefs, at one point you realize, wait a second, these thoughts and beliefs aren't even my own. It's almost like Plato's cave, the analogy of Plato's cave, where you're seeing the shadows on the wall and you're a prisoner in that cave, and you believe the shadows is reality, but when really, in essence, it's someone else's projections that you're taking in as your own, and then you're subconsciously putting those projections out, and it's a vicious cycle. And until you come to the realization that your thoughts and beliefs may not be your own, and you need to unlearn those things and reprogram your own brain, until that happens, you're going to be imprisoned in your own mind.
Yes, that's right.
Johnny Rotten says unconditional love is being in 5D. 3D love is love hurts in the Matrix.
Definitely.
Angela Self says authenticity is the key. Yes, authenticity and sincerity. That's what you need. Not everyone is sincere or blessed with sincerity. Sincerity is a gift. Use it wisely.
Definitely. I think also intent is a big thing too, right?
Yeah. You need sincerity to get on the show.
And then again, anything that we do, intent has a lot to do with it,
Absolutely, yeah. If you're going to do it for your own benefit, for your own selfish benefits, is that really being a good person? I don't know. My intent for this to be a guest on this podcast is to help other people. I'd love to be able to help other people, and eventually it'd be amazing to be able to have my own career helping other people. I love being a boilermaker and everything, and working on the nuclear power plants. It's a pretty cool job, but it's not really fulfilling my soul, my purpose.
Well, the biggest thing is to come together as a collective and communicate, interact. You see,
Absolutely, yeah.
we're not here just to spew forth our own ideas.
We're not just projecting, right?
Right. We project what we've learned and the knowledge we possess, bring others on the show to do the same thing, to try to reach a wide audience. And, they can either agree with us, do their own research to confirm it, or, choose to believe whatever they want to believe.
When you think about it, like the reciprocating process of this podcast, I like it because it's like a microcosm of the macro of the whole universe, because the universe is all about relationship.
Right, exactly.
It's all about polarity and relationship and the dualistic nature of it becoming one with each other, right?
Everything we say is debatable. However, we do the research, so you don't have to. Because a lot of people are too lazy to research, too exhausted to research after a hard day's work. Or they may not even know how to research. So we do the research so you don't have to. Fergie Ferretti says, love you guys. You know it, Bradley Powers and Jim. Thank you for that, Fergie Ferretti. You've just gone up a notch in my book.
Yeah, thank you, Fergie.
Cody Greer says, Michael, have you ever experienced having visions?
I don't think I've experienced having visions. I use visualization to, for instance, like I was quite heavy set before, and I use visualization to try to experience the emotions and the gratitude of having the results that I wanted. Feel those things to try to manifest those things, and it worked for me a lot. And it's not like I just did that, visualized it, and it happened. Like I visualized it, I did the actions, I did all the things that I needed to do to get to lose the weight and to gain muscle and all that stuff. So I think that visualizing is beneficial, but I haven't seen any visions. I haven't seen visions for me, to be honest.
Sarah Williams says, Michael, what was your first experience with the esoteric? How old were you and what was it like?
My first experience, I would say it would be summer of 2021. That's when I kind of dove headfirst into it. I'm kind of a hyper fixator. So when I get into something, I dive headfirst, right? So yeah, I'd say July, August, 2021 would be when I first started.
Sarah Williams says, authenticity, sincerity, and intent is so important. Such great advice, guys. Also, all the reasons that I like you all. Thank you for that, Sarah Williams.
Thank you, Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, our words are binding and they hold clarity. That's why we share them. Morgan Roundtree says he's loving the energy. Thank you for that, Morgan.
I can feel the energy of your audience too. Like I feel very welcomed. Yeah.
We are passionate.
Morgan
But
Roundtree says.
Go on. Go on, Jim.
Morgan Roundtree says her hard awakening was May in 2017.
So you mean hard awakening is in a very, very dramatic, quick awakening, I'm sure. That can be hard too, because my first two awakenings, I actually went into psychosis. I actually ended up in the hospital like a crazy person. They had no idea what was happening to me. I had no idea what was happening to me. So they drugged me right up and turned me into a zombie both those times. But my third and last awakening that happened is I had somehow gained discernment and realized what was going on. And I researched into what was going on with me, and it helped a lot. And yeah, it's almost like, you know how the right brain hemisphere is imagination, intuition, and all that, creativeness, all that, and the left brain hemisphere is analytical, logical reasoning. Where I think my first two awakenings, I fully went right brained, and I was in la la land. I was in my own dream while I was awake. But now I have this harmony going on with my left and right brain hemispheres, where I have logic and reason and discernment, but I also have my right brain hemisphere with the imagination and the intuition and all of these things that give way to a more like a deeper thinking process that allows me to defy logic and reason and accept things that may not be able to be explained by logic and reason. And I think that's a huge part of awakening, is being able to discern while at the same time use your intuition and trust it.
Yeah. Rich German says, what is true of you in every context, all instances, falling, eating, dying, living, what is true of you? You, that is, it's you are your awareness. Awareness is light soul. Subconsciousness is of earth and blood. This blood soul in the creation of man before the fall. You are a hybrid of both.
Yeah, because your subconscious, your subconscious is always learning. It doesn't even know sarcasm. So what you tell it, it believes. That's why, like, if you make a mistake and you say, "Oh, I'm an idiot," say, "No, I'm not an idiot." Take it back. Subconscious mind it'll learn everything, and it'll take in pattern recognition, and that's what this whole thing with Plato's cave, that analogy I use, is so prominent in today's modern society, is because there's forces that we don't see, authoritative figures. I'm not saying all authority is bad, but these people, or society and culture, is putting into your head and teaching your subconscious mind to project these things that are not your own thoughts or beliefs even.
Nikki Rhea says, I went into psychosis during my first couple of awakenings as well. Now it's like unending. I didn't realize there was actual research on this. I found my way through.
I'm glad you made your way through there, Nikki. Good job.
Morgan Roundtree says, my husband thought I suddenly had schizophrenia because I was hearing spirit guides. I scared him.
Yeah. It's hard to be on a higher frequency than people that are in the lower frequency realms, because they have a whole nother reality than you. And then when you're trying to describe, if you're vulnerable with those people, it's hard to not sound crazy because they can't see what you see. But you have the thing that makes it lonely is because you have the perspective of both you and those people in the lower frequency. But the people in the lower frequency can't see the view that you have from your higher frequency. So you're alone in that. They don't have the perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by not having that perspective, in a way, it's hard for them to understand it as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Unless it's something that they've experienced.
It's almost like if you think about actually physically being at a lower altitude, you see a rainbow, you see half the rainbow. The person that is on the lower altitude that sees half the rainbow, they're saying, no, it's half of a rainbow. There's not a circle. It's not a full circle. But if you're on a mountain and you're looking down at the rainbow, you see a full circle.
Right.
And you're saying to that person, no,
it's It's all at what angle you look at it from.
Exactly. Like if you're up on the mountain, you're saying, no, it's a circle, to the person that sees the half circle. Well, you were down at the base of that mountain before, so you'd understand their perspective. Yeah, I get it. I get that you see the half circle, but it's a full circle. But the person that sees a half circle says, no, it's a half circle. You know?
Yeah.
David Nash, and maybe write a book. Don't matter how long it takes. Journal your ideas.
Say that again.
Michael, David Nash says, maybe write a book. Don't matter how long it takes. Journal your ideas.
I'd love to write a book. I think it's something that I need to step into and just use the action to actually start it, right? Like maybe I like the analogy of 1% improvement at a time.
I'm writing a book. In my book of shadows, I've got a book of shadows. I'm writing a book there. And guess what, Jim Andre? You're in it.
I am.
Really.
Oh, wow.
No, I just remembered you, so I'll put you in it somewhere.
Well, you got to have some type of writing material, right? If you want to write it. So.
Johnny Rotten says, separation is the greatest illusion. We are one, all on a different journey to the same destination. Thank you for that, John.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah. You think maybe the whole point of this is to have that illusion of separation, and then figure out, like it's a game, figure out that you are all one. Like maybe that's part of it, to know that you are objectively one before you come down to this earth.
Well, I believe we are all one. We're just experiencing a different experience individually.
Yes.
You know?
And to come to that realization could be the whole point of life. That could be the point of this game, if you want to call it that, is to self-realize and realize you are the all-encompassing awareness that is the creator.
Right. The universal consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite saying is that life is a journey to be experienced, not a problem to be solved.
I like that.
Lee Grantham says that you can only see through your own eyes. Yep. Chuck McClellan is asking, so I'm not crazy when I see colors radiating from other people.
I don't think so at all, Chuck. I think that's just you seeing auras. I'm not able to do that yet. So that's a pretty cool ability that you have. You may seem crazy to people. Like I said, you're seeing those auras. You're the guy on the mountain seeing the circle rainbow. And you're trying to tell someone else that sees the half rainbow that you see auras. They may call you crazy. Don't listen to them, though.
No.
Imagine being a butterfly trying to tell a caterpillar that it's going to grow wings and fly around someday.
David Nash says we called it a game till the Matrix movie came out. Same thing, really.
Yeah, exactly. I love the Matrix movies.
Jesse Littleton says the life journey, every experience unique. Exactly.
Yeah. The thing on that, I want to make a point on that I'm going to make an opinion on that. Like it may be a controversial opinion, but you know how people say it's my truth. Well, I don't really believe in my truth because there's an objective truth to everything. And to have my truth, you might as well say, instead of that, say my perspective. In my eyes. Everyone has their own reality.
Cody Greer says malevolent forces living in different dimensions tend to cling on to people with higher vibrations. Seems like they steal that energy that way.
I think that could be the case with my first two awakenings, where my own demons within me were aware that I was awakening, and they sabotaged me. They sabotaged that awakening, and they made me like a crazy person during those times.
Carl
Oh,
Simmons says, like one gamer with 7 billion characters in the game. Thank you for that, Carl.
Can you say that again, Bradley? I didn't hear that.
Carl Simmons said, like one gamer with 7 billion characters in the game.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good analogy. I like that.
Bradley, I got one here from Rich German, but I don't have the whole thing on my end. I don't know if you can read it all.
Okay, yeah, I do. When answers are not seen, when everywhere you have looked for answers are found devoid of reason, perhaps the answer isn't in the physical realm. God at centre, pleroma-like star, we are the holographic crust. All we see is a service within we see from the inside. There are two universes simultaneously in range. Both are sense. If no answer to be found on the surface, look to the inside. The surface of existence is to God, as the surface of your skin is too. And we, but tiny diatomic pairs. Thank you for that, Rich.
I love that.
Chuck McClellan is asking, how do you deal with energy vampires? I've got several in my life.
I think that's a hard
Yeah.
one, right? Because if they're in your life, that sounds like there's someone that you can't just get rid of, like maybe your brother's wife, or like some people that you have to deal with no matter what, or if you have to go to work and their coworkers that are like that. So that's a good question, because how would you deal with that? I think maybe having your own becoming the observer and not engaging with them maybe is part of the answer. What do you think, Bradley and Jim?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
To tackle demons, I've got a catapult. It doesn't work, but I've got something.
Having that overflow, like having like a toroidal, if you picture like a toroidal field of positive energy, like that love energy overflowing with you, it's almost like a positive energy, a positive pressure, right? Not allowing negative into you by overflowing with positivity.
Johnny Ron says, guide your energy, put up boundaries for vampire suckers.
Yes.
David Nash says, don't feed into the fear and they're starved. Yeah, that's a good answer, David Nash.
Absolutely. Fear, deception, division. That is the name of the game for the opposite of us.
Oh, coming up at the top of the hour already.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you with us, Michael Tuttle, automatic writer and Conduit. And you've done very well. You managed to keep the audience occupied for 1 hour.
Right on. It was a pleasure to be on the show with you guys. Thanks, Jim and Bradley. I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
you approaching me.
It was nice having you on the show.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Matthew Turner, will have you on his show in 4 weeks' time.
Right on. I appreciate that, Bradley. Thanks, Jim.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for interacting with us, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Thank you.
Peace.